This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Good Neighbors Podcast. Today, we have a good-looking good neighbor on the podcast. That happens to be my good buddy, Luan Abdullah from Simcoe Lawns. What's going on, my man?
Hey, how are you, Sean?
I'm loving the hair. Absolutely loving it.
That's fresh out of bed like this.
You know, I have to open up today and tell people what I tell most people, and I tell it the same way. You're not going to go a little red, okay? So I'm sitting in the Williams Cafe, and I'm in the process of getting stiffed by a contractor. And then, lo and behold, this beautiful creature comes walking in. I don't talk about guys like this, okay? You know, guys have bromance. Guys, you know, share some love, spread some love to guys, especially when they're good buddies. And I'd say Luan and I know each other for a little bit, but not to that bromance level. So when I do say this, he might go red. But lo and behold, he comes in, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a pretty good looking dude right there. And so I'm fixated on him as he's kind of walking through. So now I got all these emotions going on. I'm upset, but then I'm in awe, and all of these different things are going on. And then I realized at the end, I'm like, hey, this guy's he's not showing up for this meeting. And then that's where I saw that you had your paraphernalia, and you had your hat, you had Simcoe Lawns on your shirt. And I went over and said hello. Next thing you know, we ended up working together. It's been fantastic ever since. And then here we are today, get to have the chance to come on the podcast. What's going on? How have you been? What's new and exciting?
I've been good. Spring's around the corner, so I'm just getting ready for a good landscaping season, getting all the ducks in a row, you know. Countdown's on.
Looking forward for you to come over and take a look at my lawn. The snow melted, and I was in utter disgust. I know it's still gotta grow. It's gotta get green, but you look at it right after, it's still got all that like gnarly sand that's on it and
everything coming out. Oh yeah.
And for whatever reason this year, I had some guy who doesn't know how to drive a snowplow because I'm on a corner lot. And so he drove over like my lawn. I don't know how many times, but I've got like massive, you know, wheel treads going on the corner of my lawn. Seems like this happens every year. So these are what
your sod. Yeah. Well, we can fix that for you.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. If you got somebody back dragging your driveway with a plow, that tends to happen. What you really want is a snowblower, right? But very few people will use that on properties these days. So
I'm sure with that lengthy intro, people are chomping on the bit. Why don't we dive into it? Let's tell everybody about what you do and about your business.
Sure. So we're Simcoe Lawns. We're right here in Barrie, Ontario. We serve all across Barrie and the surrounding areas in Simcoe County. We specialize in commercial residential lawn maintenance, everything from fertilizer and weed control programs, new sod lawn installs, garden bed enhancements, and garden bed revamps.
So pretty much everything that has to do with the outside.
Pretty much everything except for any kind of hardscaping. We don't do much in terms of patios and pavers.
You get a lot of people that come to you and say, hey, like this garden bed, I haven't touched this in like 4 years. Can you spruce it up to me?
All the time. Yeah, typically, especially when someone's looking to move, if they're looking to sell their home, they want to spruce up the outdoors for a quick sale or for staging. And also sometimes when they move into a new place and they want to spruce up the new place, typically it's springtime, they bought a place in the fall and now everything's melting in the spring and they see what's there and they want to really enhance everything and make it look nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely think that's what's a really cool kind of feature to your business. Because when you think of, you know, just lawn, you think of the grass only, right?
Right.
But it's much more than that. And in the pandemic, I turned into a bit of a green thumb. I ended up picking 749 dandelions. I think I told you this story. I was all calloused up, and last time I ever did it, first and last. And then I started, you know, kind of seriously considering and taking a look at my lawn and all the work that goes in it. And you get to a point where it's like, you know what, I'd just rather have a professional do it because you know what you're doing. You're an expert at it. And then next thing you know, I'm competing with Larry, who's behind. He's doing it himself because he's 78 and he's retired. I'm young. I'm still working. But I got the better lawn.
Yeah, your lawn is it's such a cycle, right? It's not like something that you build or renovate where you kind of set it and forget it. It looks nice today and that's how it's going to be forever. It's a constant cycle. It's a living organism. You got to feed it. You got to treat it. You got to keep an eye on it, right? So a lot of people kind of lose that. They're good at it in the beginning of the spring. Things get busy in the summertime. They go on vacation. Kids are out of school. Things are going on. And before you know it, you haven't looked at the lawn in a few weeks. All you've been doing is cutting it, and it doesn't look very good.
So not a lot of people may not know this, but I do. So I'm going to bring it to light. And lawns are not the only thing you're passionate about. You're also a firefighter as well.
That's right. Yes. Which kind of goes hand in hand. A lot of firefighters are big on their lawns. Yeah, I've been on the fire department in Toronto for about 8 years now. And I pretty much started up my business here right around the same time. I was always into that kind of work, so I kind of decided to couple it a little bit together.
And so not only do you save lives for a living, but you also make people happy, give them a really nice aesthetic look and feel to their lawns and their garden beds. So like, tell me about this passion that, you know, because you're really knowledgeable, right? About lawn and lawn care and how to take care of, like you said, these living organisms. Tell us about this journey and how this all kind of came to light.
Well, it kind of started with me working outdoors. I always worked outdoors, but not in the most glamorous way. I started out working in the asphalt industry, paving. So we would be on these paving jobs on these commercial properties or on residential streets, and you're in the heat of the asphalt, standing there raking it. And I always see these, you know, we'd be at these on these streets for like weeks sometimes, or even months. And I would see these same lawn crews coming. And these guys are jumping out of the truck and trailer. They're jumping on their mowers. They're quick in and out, property to property. And it looked like a lot of fun. I always liked mowing my own lawn and maintaining the grass. And I said, why am I outside doing this when I could be doing something like that? So I ended up getting a job in a landscaping company. This was back in Mississauga when I used to live there. And I basically, there's so many different avenues in landscaping. There's lawn cutting, there's lawn maintenance, there's lawn care, there's tree and shrubs, there's garden stuff. And I worked in every aspect of that industry. So I said to myself, I've always wanted to own a business. I've always been a good leader. I've always moved up fast in companies. I said, why not operate something myself? I know every skill that's involved. Why not put it all together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. What is it about? Because there's two components to it, right? Like there's working, like we were just talking about before the show, working in the business, working on the business. And as a business owner, it's important to work on the business, but knowing what you know about it and the passion that you have behind taking care of lawns. When you're working in the business, what's one of the things that you're kind of like the most passionate about?
Probably bringing people up through the business in terms of leadership and training, I would say. It's probably one of the things that I found to be the most important aspect. When I'm working in the business, which I still do, I try to make sure I am bringing somebody up along with me. I should never be working in the business by myself. I'm always with my crew. I'm always teaching. I'm always showing. I'm always trying to pass that next. I'm always trying to fire myself from a new role every year and give it to somebody else, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've become really passionate about in terms of working on and in the business, is really bringing up the team and really focusing on the people.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. And you're trying to fire yourself from a new job each year, and of course, will help you get to your goals. Okay, so lawn care, lawn maintenance, all of this good stuff. There's misconceptions in every business. What would be one or multiple, if you want to share, that happened in your business?
So one thing I did notice in the early stages of my business was in the landscaping industry, it's very low barrier to entry, but it's difficult to succeed in. So I find typically, because it's a very saturated market, you really do have to work hard to earn people's trust and to let them know that, because there's no university degree for landscaping. There's no red seal trade that I can show somebody that proves, you call an electrician. There's a certain amount of knowledge I expect that person to have when they walk into my house because they have the title of electrician. When I say, hello, I'm your friendly neighborhood landscaper, that means I've mowed a lawn once, or I've taken care of millions of properties my whole life. You really don't know, right? So I kind of wish people knew like just the right questions to ask and kind of like how to interview your landscaping company, your property maintenance company, how to know if they actually are the real deal, and just, not to trust that face value, right?
Sounds like a good first expert contributor article. Wouldn't you agree?
I would say so, yeah.
So what would be some things then, if you want to elaborate on that, just for the people who are watching, is this a stuff even for myself? Like I'd never probably think like, hey, I should have a subset of questions that I should ask. What would be a couple of questions that would be good for somebody to ask, just so they get a good bearing and make sure that they're making a right decision?
Well, if it's in terms of your lawn, do they even know what kind of grass is typically grown here in Ontario? Do they know the proper temperatures? Do they know what to do if you have a certain part of your lawn that may need a different type of grass? How do you remediate that, right? Some grasses are typically good in shade. Some are good, need a lot of sun. How do you make that change to somebody who has a property where it's half shade and half sun, but they want their lawn to look uniform throughout? There's a way to do it, but it takes a bit of knowledge and expertise, right? There's so many different lawn pests that can affect your grass. There's diseases, there's funguses, there's lots to know. So just asking a couple of prodding questions, things that are bothering you about your own lawn. If they don't have those answers for you, that tells you right there that they just are not that in depth, right?
No, that's phenomenal. We definitely, when you're coming over to scope mine, I've got a whole section right at the front because I got a big corner lot. And they're right in the middle. It gets the most sun, and it's not the strongest. It's the first to go dead every year in the summertime, regardless of how much I water it. And then, you got your other sections that are shaded, right?
Yeah. I can already probably guess of what some of the issues are, but it could be a number of things, definitely. But yeah.
Awesome stuff. So I know you're a guy that likes to have fun, and we have to have that work-life balance. We were talking just a little bit about it before we came on the show. What would be some things when you're not working that you like to do for fun?
Well, in the summertime, I spend most of my time working. That is pretty much one of my hobbies, working on my business. I do like to work out a lot. I try to never go more than 3 days without working out, being in the gym, lifting some sort of weights, doing some sort of resistance training. I like riding my motorcycle a lot in the summertime. That clears my head. A little bit of what I call wind therapy. You know what I mean? In the wintertime, I spend most of my winter just traveling across Canada, hitting all the good ski areas. I'll go out to the Rockies in Calgary and BC. This year I went out to the eastern townships in Quebec. Mind you, there wasn't much snow, but there was enough to be out there anyways. But yeah.
Skiing specifically?
Snowboarding. My fiance skis, I snowboard. We can both do the other discipline, but we're both just better at that one. So we can keep up with each other if she's skiing and I'm snowboarding.
Yeah. No, totally. I think I was telling you, I boarded a lot when I was in high school, and for the first couple of years after, and then my parents moved. I was living with them at the time, and I lost my boarding boots and my helmet, and they were the nicest board boots I've ever had. I felt like I was walking on clouds when I had them, and they were really expensive. So I wasn't going to go and buy a new subset. And it wasn't until like 3 months ago that my mom's like, "Hey, I found your board boots and your helmet. They were tucked up somewhere in the rafters for like 3 years. Got so much dust on, not on the boots per se, but happy to get them back." And then I would have gone, but we had the winter that we had this year. So unfortunate for those who enjoy doing some of those hobbies in the winter months, right?
Those are probably the newest, oldest looking boots ever.
Oh yeah.
If it was back when you were in high school. They've come a long way since then.
The resale value might be good on them if I ever wanted to. So a motorhead, eh? Like 2 wheels, you feel safe on that kind of stuff? I don't know if I would have the guts to get on 2 wheels.
Oh, I don't feel safe. I never said anything about feeling safe.
You don't feel safe, but somehow it's therapeutic.
But it's very therapeutic. Same thing on my snowboard.
Yeah, no, true. So when you go for rides, are you like taking the back roads? You go anywhere specific? Like
I do like the back roads. Like I actually live out here in Angus, just basically the border of Angus and Barrie. So there's a lot of good back roads around here. I'll ride out to like Collingwood. I got a few friends out there that ride, so we'll meet up and kind of ride in a group. That's always a much safer thing to do on a motorcycle. Kind of being in a big group on the road, you're very visible. You kind of watch out for each other, right? So,
oh, very nice. Very, very cool. Okay, maybe we'll switch gears here, get on a little bit more of a serious topic. So, life happens in a different way for everybody, and everybody's got their own path that they trudge upon. And sometimes there's things that happen that are outside of our control. Hardships happen, but also challenges, not necessarily hardships. Have you ever had a life hardship or a challenge that you've had to endure and or overcome in your life that, you know, that you overcame that and it made you better for it, made you stronger for it?
In my personal life, not so much that I can think of, but I could tell you something like in the early stages of operating my business and trying to grow.
Sure.
And it ties back into the whole thing about loving on your people and, you know, being a good leader. When I first started, I had 1 year of just a lot of growth. I needed hands on deck, needed staff really bad. And I pretty much looked for them wherever I could. And that didn't yield the best results. And that year, I learned a lot. I had a lot of staff turnover. I had a couple guys leave all at once. I was putting them through the ringer, wasn't being the best leader. And it really taught me a lot just about people and, you know, how to treat them, and kind of going back to those days when I was an employee and kind of putting myself in their shoes and just realizing that, you know, if you don't love on your people and know what motivates them, what their desires are, what they need, you're not going to go anywhere. You know, it's like a ship. You could be a great captain on a ship or a boat, but if your deckhands aren't there, if they don't respect you, if they don't have the vision in their heads, if they don't agree with that path you're on, you're really not going to go anywhere. So I had to do a lot of research. I took some like leadership courses. I reached out to my fire captains in the fire department and kind of looked for some pointers on leadership there. And I learned quite a bit, read a lot of books on it. And now, like I said, I'm just obsessed with my people and checking on them and making sure they're trained right, making sure they have what they need, and just being there as a good leader and good mentor.
It's such an important skill. You know, some people are born with it, but doesn't mean just because you are that it would make you a good one over the course of time. It's definitely a skill that you have to work on that craft. And, you know, people are the heart of what makes it go around and around, right? You lose your people, you could lose your shirt. So,
100%. And I realized too that on a small scale, you may not think it's important. I didn't think it was important when I had one helper, two helpers, but what I realized was how you treat your one employee is the same way you're going to treat 10 if that changes in a matter of 1 year, right?
Right.
And that just doesn't work. So
yeah, different strokes for different folks. And I had to learn the same things when I was in the car business. I took a leadership role early and I smacked my face pretty good. Mm-hmm. And a little bit of a different industry in the car business per se, but I know I've had to learn through trial and error on, you know, the right things to say and sometimes the wrong things to say, and when you need to say certain things at the right time. And I fell victim to that. You know, there's a difference between, you know, a boss and a friend, and then there's that fine line in between.
Big time. Yeah. And everybody wants to be one of the guys. You want to be everybody's friend, but that's just not, you can't be that, right? It's not what you signed up for. Yeah. So it's a hard role to accept, but it is what it is, right? That's why we do it, I guess. So.
Oh, 100%. Definitely we're cut from the same cloth in that regard. So can you tell us what's one thing that you wish that the listeners knew about your business?
Just how passionate some people in this industry are. You know, like you can make money doing anything. People that are out there doing landscaping, enhancing properties, cutting grass out in the heat, they're there because they want to do it. They're passionate about it. Our guys, we're passionate about beautifying people's properties, beautifying their spaces, making them proud of where they live. And that's just the truth. Some people think that you're out there to just make money and whatnot. Maybe it's an easy job to do. It's not, but we could do lots of other things, but we choose to be out there doing that.
That's a really cool answer. Cause you know, people think like what they want to think.
Yeah.
You know, they, and at first glance, you know, they'd say, oh, he's just, you know, that's someone there. They might think, oh, they're just there because it's a job or whatever the case is. But that's even good for me, you know, to take and see when I see other people doing it, which I do, by the way. Mm-hmm. When I bought my house, I bought I just a lawnmower, nothing crazy, not a big one, even though I had, the big corner lot. So, it takes me a good 40 minutes just to do the front, right? And then bagging it, every time. And then, you get busy. So I leave it for 2 weeks, which sometimes it's not a bad thing.
Sometimes
right?
that's okay. Yep.
Right. You're telling me the roots get bigger and all this stuff, right? But man, it grows thick, right? So now I'm stopping every 2 passes to then take the bag off and then, empty it. And good workout though. I'll tell you that much.
You need some power in your mower. I'll get rid of that for you.
Yeah. Man, the stuff I'm going to learn from you this year, I can't wait. So what are we seeing in the background here?
Behind me?
Yeah.
We got our, right here, we got our skid steer, Bobcat skid steer right there.
Nice.
We use that for a lot of our landscape enhancement work, our garden beds, mulch, a lot of sod, topsoil. Over here, we got our lawnmower fleet. So we use these stand-up Toro grandstand mowers. We got two 52-inch decks and a 36-inch deck for those backyards. They're pretty powerful motors. They got Kawasaki engines, 22 horsepower on them. They do pretty good. They're quite quick, very compact units. A bunch of other stuff over here. Let's get some unplugged here. Let's go for a walk. What else we got here?
I'm excited.
We got our little gym space here.
Oh yeah.
We got our squat rack and some dumbbells. I get my workout out. Sometimes I'll be tinkering on equipment here and I'll throw in a few sets in the bench press if I feel like it. Why not, right? No rules.
Cool. Yeah, no rules. Hey, you're the business owner. You do what you want, right? Oh, nice.
Breakout. That's where I get my wind therapy. Yes. I do have a dirt bike too, but that's in parts. So
okay. Yeah. I'm a 4-wheel kind of guy. I got an ATV. I got a 350 Sportsman Touring from Polaris.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Had from since 2013, but I don't get to use it as much as I'd like. Been on a couple of trips with it, but yeah, 4 wheels for me. That's where I live.
At least you didn't buy a snowmobile.
I sold it.
I just bought 2 this year. You bought 2 new ones.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, I just look at the last couple of years on what's going on out there, and I just don't have as much confidence. I mean, hey, we could get slammed next year, but the last 3 years, it's not the greatest trend, and you got to buy the trail pass, and it's cheaper if you buy it earlier, so you're committing yourself that you're going to buy it, and then you get out there, maybe a couple times, unless you really want to do a lot of that work of trailering it somewhere, but you got to go fairly far away to find it. So, and I don't know about you, man, maybe the wind therapy is a little different, but I'm driving around all day and then you come home. It's the last thing I want to do is then get back on my sled and then go ride for like another hour and a half
in the cold. Yeah. I've never been, the snowmobiling's never been a thing. Something about the nice weather is what I like being out on my bike with.
Right.
In the wintertime, I'm not looking to kind of be out on a snowmobile. So
that was like yesterday for me. Yesterday, I went out on the deck. It's like 4 o'clock. I had just finished the last show of the day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a run. So I went on my first run for the year.
Nice.
Lungs, phenomenal. Legs,
no,
not so much.
Totally. I actually took the bike out yesterday.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I did. Yeah, I took it into Barrie. I had a physio appointment, so I decided, what the hell? It's like 18 degrees. I'm going to ride into Barrie. I saw a few bikes out earlier. I said, why not? It's the earliest I've ever taken it out. I'm usually like May. I'll wait till May or something. But
right. Yeah. Oh, great. Glad we get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the listeners who are out there, obviously now that they know that you really know your shit and you're good at what you do, if they were curious and wanted to know more about having their property maintained, whether it's, just maintaining that property, whether it's the garden beds or actually getting some grass cutting done, how can they get hold of you?
You can visit our website, simcoelawns.ca. And right there's a contact form. You can leave your information and that shoots right to my email and somebody will get back to your request same day usually. You can also visit us on our Facebook page, which I believe is actually down worldwide today, apparently. Facebook. But our Instagram as well, at Simcoe Lawns Ltd. And on Instagram, we're getting better with our social media posting. We like to do a lot of informational posts. So every month we kind of throw something out there, whether it's about lawn care, like a 5-step fertilizer program, what to look for when vetting a lawn maintenance company, things like that.
Awesome stuff. Very cool. Well, Luan, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Thanks for doing this. Great conversation as always. And looking forward to seeing you out there at those networking events.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.